And today's PC is built into this rather inconspicuous case. The stickers on the front really show their age. No, there's not a dual-core Pentium inside, but there is an ASUS product inside. Let's open this thing up and take a look. Ignoring the terrible cable management options in a PC case from the late 2000s, underneath the AMD Wraith CPU Cooler is a Ryzen 7 2700X CPU with 8 cores and 16 threads. Beside that, we have 16 GB of Corsair Vengeance 3600MHz DDR4 RAM, and this is a MSI GTX 1660 Ti graphics card with 6 GB of GDDR6 memory. Lending to the mess of cables is this EVGA 500 watt power supply, and that's all packed onto an ASUS A320M-K motherboard. And there's Windows 11 installed on this 512GB Patriot P300 NVMe solid-state drive. And snuck in is this Samsung 160GB hard drive I threw in for extra storage space. So the cables were bugging me and I had to clean them up at least a little bit. But we still have the mess up here, but I guess that's just the reality with an older case. So there's a bit of empty space here, and it looks like you would be able to install an air intake fan, although there's not really much of a grill there to draw in cool air. What I'm relying on is this graphics card not being a real big source of heat. I do, however, anticipate that this CPU will heat up in some more intensive games, but as long as it's not overheating, we'll see how it goes, and I'll leave it up to somebody purchasing this if they want to install something different. And I have this 80mm fan set up to exhaust hot air. Also, the power supply will act as a type of top exhaust. In my testing, temperatures remained stable, and I wasn't really worried about the risk of overheating. As you'll see in the gameplay footage, I think the system performed well within its expectations. And to be honest, building budget systems, you really do have to manage your expectations. A little blast from the past is this little plastic shroud attached to the side of the PC case, with the intent to help funneling cool air to the CPU cooler. And with the panel on, you can see that it just lines up with the Wraith CPU cooler. There's also this little grill on the side that I'm hoping will act for some passive cooling for the graphics card. So onto the front of the PC case, we do have an optical drive that maybe somebody would have a use for, 2x USB 2.0 microphone and headphone jacks. And onto the rear I/O of the motherboard, we have mouse and keyboard PS2 ports, a VGA and HDMI port that you won't be able to use with this particular CPU as there's no integrated graphics, 4x USB 3.1, 2x USB 2.0, RJ45 Ethernet port, audio and in-out jacks, and on the graphics card we have 1x HDMI 2.0 and 3x DisplayPort 1.4a. So before we get to the gameplay footage, I was curious to see how the system would perform with DaVinci Resolve and video rendering. Let's quickly take a look at that. So again, within managed expectations, I could totally see myself using a system like this for casual work and casual gaming. Especially if I was on a tight budget, I would really try to stretch how much I could get out of a setup like this. If you agree or disagree, let me know, or if you're using a similar setup, let me know that as well. Other than that, let's segue to the gaming footage and end this video. Thanks a lot for watching, and hopefully this helped you out in some way.